Hi, everyone. You're listening to the EO Entrepreneurs Organization Wonder podcast, and I'm your host, Kalika Yap. On this show, we talk with entrepreneurs who build, teach, and lead in ways that shape the next generation. And as entrepreneurs, we think a lot about performance, about pressure, about resilience in our companies. Coaches think about those same things on the court. Today, I'm talking with someone who lives at that intersection of sports and leadership. Longtime volleyball coach and business owner, Coach Morgan Wijay, founder of After the Game. Morgan has spent about 30 years coaching volleyball and raising two amazing athletes. Through After the Game, she also supports young athletes and their parents with the tools they need for the highs and lows of sports, from confidence and mindset to what happens when the final whistle blows and the season ends. And right now, this conversation feels especially exciting because we're coming off of the high of winning the state championship in girls volleyball at Harvard Westlake, where my girls go to school. I have had a front row seat to Morgan's coaching, and I've seen how she builds strong teams, not only through training, but through how she talks about failure, effort, and character. In recent news, Coach Morgan Wijay was just named Coach of the Year by Daily News. Today, we're going to talk about youth sports, raising kids, especially girls, in competitive environments, how to face adversity and not lose your sense of self, and why creating the space to fail may be one of the most powerful tools we have as parents, coaches, and founders. If you're an entrepreneur, a parent in the stands, or a leader who wants to raise strong, grounded humans, this episode is for you. Let's get into my conversation with Coach Morgan Wijay of After the Game.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And yes, this is something that is very special to my heart, is empowering and raising the youth to be great leaders and people that also empower others when they grow up. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
So I'd love for everyone to know your origin story. You come from a long line of
Mhm.
athletes. Tell us about it.
Okay, so my dad and my mom were volleyball coaches. My dad coached volleyball and basketball and softball, but like his primary focus was volleyball. He is in the Hall of Fame for the state of Indiana as a volleyball coach. He's incredible. Sometimes I sit here and think, I think when you grow up, you're like, oh, I'm not going to be like my parents. And then now you just realize, man, I really have so many of my parents' traits and the great ones. And I'm very blessed in that way. I had a wonderful dad that really cared about his community, and I got to be a front row seat to that. I got to see him always take care of his community, serve his community, love on his community. And I really didn't realize how much that made a mark on me, on the way I was going to spend the rest of my life and what brought me value. I thought, I really love the people that I'm around. This is my village, and I'm going to love on it, take care of it, empower it in any way I can. So yes, so my dad taught me volleyball. They had a volleyball club, so I became a gym rat pretty quickly at a young age, and they would be in the gym for like hours, and I would just sit in the corner playing volleyball on the wall, playing volleyball over here, playing volleyball on the basketball hoop, whatever it could have been. And then I started just like playing volleyball, and I also played other sports, which I was thankful for. My journey was filled with playing basketball and softball, and I was blessed to be great at a lot of those and got inducted to the Hall of Fame for all of those sports. So I was very excited to be an athlete that was inducted to the Hall of Fame. And but then I went to University of Houston, got recruited to University of Houston, was a setter, and even my journey with volleyball was unique. And I really try to challenge volleyball parents, raise volleyball players, not positions, because the reality is I got to play almost every position growing up. And then probably 17 and under year, our setter, we were one of the top teams in the nation for club, and our setter quit. And they were like, well, we need someone to set. And they just decided I had the most experience. So they leaned on me to be the setter to take over. And it was a great experience, and that's ended up what recruited me to college was setting. So I went to University of Houston and won 2 conference championships there, went to 4 NCAA tournaments, and it was exciting, and met my husband, Indy Wijay. And then we moved out here to LA because he was in the film industry and he was traveling back and forth, and we had 2 little babies. And I thought, you know what, let's just move to LA. Let's do it. And we didn't know anyone, 2 little babies, and quickly people found out I was here and got, hey, come here and help us with this camp, or can you help us with this volleyball team? And I just was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it. At that time, I was just an elementary teacher. Really loved being an elementary teacher. Yeah, it's just like I love being a third grade teacher. I was a third grade teacher for 10 years. So when we moved out here, it was like nice to get back in the volleyball world around a lot of people that love volleyball. And I would say the first place that hired me was Harvard Westlake as an assistant coach for their girls volleyball team. And that year, what an incredible journey was we won the state championship that year. And it was exciting. I loved it, loved being a part of that program and loved the school. It was Harvard Westlake is definitely a very special school. And I decided I got opportunities to go to other schools and take over as a head coach from that situation. And I ended up going to Sierra Canyon and starting the volleyball program there. And that was a wonderful experience, a lot of lessons learned at such a young age. And that is also where I started Supernova All Stars, which is my volleyball club that I've had for the last 17 years. And we just focus on just empowering our community. We really try to stay away from the greed of the game, of the youth sports game, and focus on, okay, we want to be a space that can serve the community that loves and that we love them. And nothing too crazy or overwhelming to where I don't know people. I want to know everyone's faces in my club as a owner. So that really meant a lot to us. And then it did instantly catapult Sierra Canyon. So after my first year, we went to the finals for CIF championship, and we went to the finals like 3 years and 2 Final Fours. And then Bishop Alamini asked me to come over and take over their program. And that program was like 2-98. And they were like not doing well, but all their other sports were flourishing. So this was like the one sport they wanted to pick up. So like we came in, it was instantly, hey, if we're going to win, we have to work the hardest because that's where it is. And we worked hard. The girls worked hard. The parents worked hard. And we were able to quickly turn that program around. I think we went to the Final Four of CIF that year. And then we went a lot of CIF, Final Four of state. We did a lot of great things in that journey, won 2 CIF championships, and put a lot of amazing girls into some really big schools. So that was a fun journey. And then through this whole process, I was raising kids. So I was trying to raise kids to be the most competitive kids, the best kids, because that's what, when you're competitive, you want your kids to be the best and all these different things that you get consumed as a parent. So, and now it's like I'm on the kind of tail end of that journey, and my kids are both playing college sports. My daughter plays at University of Southern California, so she's an outside hitter at USC, and my son is a quarterback at University of Houston. And it's just been kind of like, I've been through it. And I think that's kind of why I came up with After the Game. And that's where I am right now, is because that journey is not an easy journey for families. The youth sports journey can be overwhelming. You can get a little lost. You can get a little unraveled with your emotions because these are your kids. These are your babies. And you can get very mama bear, papa bear. Don't you look at my daughter like that. And you have to realize these emotions that are you're reacting to are not necessarily validated. These are just things that are part of the growth when it comes to youth sports. And so learning that, I realized I was like, really wish I had someone more to lean on that could have mentored me or guided me through those moments. And so that's where my journey is now. And now I'm at Harvard Westlake, and we just won a state championship and in my first year there, and with a very talented group. And I knew they were talented. So I just think the crossroads came, and I thought when they offered me the opportunity, I thought, you know what? This is a good group. I've watched them across the net, and I knew how talented they were, and I was excited to start getting to work with them and seeing what we could do. So, and we did it. So it was wonderful.
I was so impressed by you in the very beginning as a CEO and founder myself, seeing you come in as like the new CEO of the coaching program. And you brought us all together at this Big Bear retreat.
Yeah.
Because culture is really important to you. Tell us a little bit about why culture is so important and how you built that.
I think one thing is like when you're building culture, there's a few things you have to you need to create moments that you show your girls that they matter beyond being a volleyball player. And I think it's really hard when you're being competitive and you're going for the win. And you have to create other worlds to show, hey, I care about you besides volleyball. So I would sit here and say, when I became a teacher, I remember this was written on my heart by my principal. And I remember her telling me, Morgan, no one cares how much you know till they know how much you care. And that has been written on my heart ever since. I could be the smartest person in the world, but at the end of the day, no one will leave. The thing that they will be left with is how much I cared about them. And did I do a good job showing that? And I think sometimes we do get caught up and we fall short of it because we're human. But at the end of the day, I realize when you do things like Big Bear or Color Wars or like things away from the volleyball world, things away completely from the volleyball world, you start getting to see your players as young women that have their own insecurities, their own struggles. We're starting to see our teammates beyond as teammates. We're starting to see them as sisters, as friends, as other girls who are struggling with the same insecurities you're struggling with. I think even more, it's imperative that we make these moments happen like Big Bear and just so you know what Big Bear was just a volleyball retreat. We took the varsity team where they just completely disconnected really from their phones and disconnected from volleyball and just had a chance to just be sisters and really get to know each other beyond. I think it's really important to know your teammate, their strengths, their insecurities, what they're going through. And I think it really makes you show up for your teammates in a bigger way because, hey, this girl is struggling with this stuff. She feels overwhelmed. And hopefully, what you create is a sense of empathy for your team. And you're creating a culture that's based on love, empathy, understanding, acceptance. And I think those are very like healthy things to start planting seeds. That's healthy soil to plant your seeds. But I think it's hard to do if we're always in a competitive world. It's hard to plant healthy seeds in good soil when we're only thinking about winning and we're only thinking about how many kills did she get or how many sets did she get? Because at the end of the day, we're all competitive. We all want to win. But those aren't always the best seeds to create culture. And so I think for us, those moments really matter and they'll forever matter. Like I started it at Sierra Canyon and I've done it and every team we've done it with has been tremendously successful and they create camaraderie that goes beyond the game. So,
Yeah, and it was you that helped develop that culture, which
mhm,
is so important, whether or not you're coaching a team
yeah,
or coaching your employees in a business.
hmm
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So the season was full of a lot of challenges.
hmm
How do you deal with challenges and adversity when you're faced with it?
I think one, I think when you face a challenge, you have to sit here and say, is this adversity worth my energy? I think that's my first question because there's just a lot of petty things that people will bring to you that you're like, this is really, in the grand scheme of this season, this is not important. And you really kind of have to go, okay, this is going to be ignored because this is just draining from the ultimate goal. It's taking away from the ultimate goal. So my first question is this adversity worth my energy? And is it taking away from the ultimate goal? So you have to sit on that. And then you go, okay, is this adversity going to teach us a lesson? Is this something that we need to go through? Here's my thing is adversities are not fun. It's like sometimes it's not fun working with different personalities. It's not fun going through things, but the reality, I look back at my kids' lives, my life, other teams, situations. If I didn't have those very challenging moments and those adverse moments, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have the wisdom, the experiences, and actually, more importantly, I think the thing you gain the most is empathy. As a parent that went through all of it, that probably did all the things parents do around my program, whether it's like whining, complaining about little things, or having a meltdown over the setter, I've done all of that. And I have a lot of empathy for parents. And I sit here and I think, I've done it. I can't judge it. Do you know? So I get it. And I think for me, it's that is something that's really changed my coaching on the way I do things. Like when I'll just give you a funny example. When I was a coach at the beginning of alimony and my kid, London, was just like little elementary girl, I'd be like, parents would be like, oh my gosh, like she has a hair appointment. I'd be like, okay, she's not missing practice. I don't care about her hair appointment. And they're like, but you don't understand. It's so hard to get this person. And the hair appointment takes 5 hours. And I'd be like, not my problem. Figure out how to do your homecoming hair another day. Do you know? Because she is not missing practice. And that was like, no, 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 no. And I had a very hard line. Well, now you become a mom and you raise a teenager and you see the stress of raising a teenage daughter. Now that hair appointment that parent's like in that player is asking for, you're like, okay, is there any other way around it? Is this the only way? You're gonna miss this practice. Okay, how can we make up for practice? And then you try to find and work with them with solutions now. I try not to be such a hard line because I know that mom is probably going through it with her kid at home and she's trying to make everything work for her kid because I did it too. And to have a daughter be like, I have to get my hair done. It's like my nails need to be done. You're just like, oh, like you have volleyball practice. No, you don't understand. And you're just like, I can't be the only mom going through this. And now it's just that empathy now is like, there's a whole nother level of empathy I have for the people I coach and the community I lead. So that would be an example of what adversities and challenges I've done. When it comes to volleyball, I'd spent years like when younger Morgan, when I would lose, it was like, don't talk to mom for 4 days. She lost a game. She's having a meltdown. She's crashing out. I'm crying. I just could not handle losses. And then you start realizing, but the diamond that you're chasing, the thing you're chasing is in the loss. You can't get there without the loss. You have to go through the losses. And I started seeing losses really honestly through Brené Brown. She's fabulous. In fact, we started our season off having the girls listen to her because she's amazing. But you realize, yeah, I need to fail really at the end of the day. And then I started evaluating all the losses I've had in life, the big ones. Those were my biggest lessons I learned. Those are the places I grew the most. And those are the things that put more fire in my belly to work harder. And that's where I realized, like the whole idea, a diamond isn't made without coal and the fire and the pressure that it's being put under. And then that's when the diamond is birthed. That's kind of wisdom, those experiences, all those empathy. These are little diamonds that we possess. And those aren't made through good times. Those are made through the tough times, the tears, the pain, the losses, the death of someone, being betrayed, being backstabbed. Like those moments are what actually make those diamonds that you have when you get older. So inevitably, I realize I need to embrace and have a better attitude about losses and see it. So for me, it's like there's winning and there's learning. And it only becomes a loss if you refuse to learn from it.
Yeah. But winning also takes a lot of preparation,
Oh,
and
it does.
you really prepare well. Tell us about that.
I would sit here and say winning takes preparation. I think you also have to know your team. A lot of it is learning your team's personality, what they can handle. Is it too much? Is it too, you're always navigating this. Do they need push? Do they need a fun practice today? Do you need to lighten up their load? Do you need to go harder? Do you need to do overly scout teams? Or do you need to say, you know what, here's a brief scout? And they handle that so much better. For example, I've had teams, you give them a very intense scouting report and they will go out there and they will do that scouting report without losing themselves. So they're very good at scouting reports. So they know that team in and out, but they also stay to who they are, right? Now I've had teams where I've given them big scouting reports and they're so obsessed with this scouting report that they lost who they were. So then they go into the game just obsessed about the scouting report and they forget who they are. So they're not even being who they are, right? So you have to learn your team's personality, what they can handle, what they can't. And a lot of that is just observing. Our team did a really good job knowing just enough. There were some girls that could probably know a little bit more and they wouldn't lose themselves. Our team needed to know just enough, but not too much, because who they are was still amazing and beautiful. And they didn't need to change who they are to go win a game. They just needed to continue working on their little small 1% things that they needed to work on. But the essence of who they are were pretty phenomenal volleyball players and talented, and they just needed to lean in on that more and believe in it. So I think for me, preparing is knowing who your team is, knowing what they need from you as a coach, adjusting throughout the season. We definitely had moments where we would pull back and just work on small group stuff, or like work on technical things. Or then when we would pull back and be like, okay, we need to have just fun practices because school's getting tough. We want to have short and sweet fun practices where it's competitive. They're going after it, but they can exit and just still feel like they have enough bandwidth for the rest of life. And then you have times like, okay, we're locking in, we're going hard. We're doing it all right now. This is what we're doing. And I think as a coach, you have to navigate that and know, but I think that also takes years of experience, right? I know girls, I've seen it. I've seen season unfold. I've made the errors as a coach to know what to do now and how to service my teams better. So yeah, I guess that would be how I prepare.
And you were handed this team, the players,
Yeah.
but you also got a chance to choose the coaching staff that you're with. Tell us a little bit about how you choose people.
I kind of like going into this, I was leaving a wonderful school and a wonderful community, Alamany. And it was a very hard decision because I love my Alamany people. I really do. They're a very sweet group. They work really hard. They're so loving to their coaches. It's wonderful. So I really kind of like left my coaching group to take care of that community. So they were in good hands. So I really had to pick people I've never really worked with before. And I think for me, it's like you rely on a lot of people you trust in the volleyball community to say, hey, this person's really good or this person's really good. But I will say specifically one person that I could not have done this season that was a godsend for me is probably Coach Sammy. And it was a unique way. He reached out to me saying he's interested in the position. I had no idea who this guy is, never heard of him before in my life. And we decided to meet up for coffee. And I remember like it was yesterday. He was like, hi, I'm Sammy. And we started talking. And not even in the first 2 minutes, I said in my head, this is my person. This is the person who completes me. And the reason why is because he's good at everything I'm not good at. I know what I'm not good at. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm good at everything because I know I'm not good at everything. And I know that I'm human and I have errors and I have things I want to always get better than. But I think, okay, like surround people that are good at those things that you're not good at is very important when you are a CEO. Every CEO has a strength. And every CEO has pitfalls and their weaknesses. And I think it's really important that you find the people around you that their strengths are your weaknesses. So then you can really build something special. And when I met Sammy, he was a godsend. And I absolutely know this season would not have happened without him. He was my rock. And I think that's really important for CEOs to have those people. We need them. And they empower us because they make us feel more secure because we all have those insecurities that we're dealing with. And when we find someone who strengthens those insecurities, it really becomes a power team. And I'm very grateful. So yeah, I met him. He said he's a Virgo. I'm a Gemini. My best friend's a Virgo. I was just like a match made in heaven. I was like, yes, I love you already. And it really did. It really came down. It was wonderful. But yeah, I think for you, okay. And then you go through and you're like, okay, well, this didn't work and that didn't work. And I might need to pivot here and I might need to pivot there. And that's just owning a business, right? You're like, oh, I think this is going to work. And then it doesn't work. And then you're like, okay, let's pivot. I got to find something new for that. So that's just how it is. Not everything works out, but Sammy worked out beautifully and I loved it. So very grateful.
So, as CEO of this team, you In my opinion, you were the visionary. You brought in the leadership. And as most people know through the entrepreneur operating system, we have the integrator, the one who does like all the operations. He
Yeah,
was in
yeah,
charge of like the
absolutely.
online calendar. Like he was the one that the Virgo,
Yeah,
the organized person who
yeah.
helped with the look ahead emails. So it's so nice to be able to have, like you said, know what your strengths are and know how you can fill it in.
Yeah, because if you're stressed out about the things that don't naturally come good to you, because here's the thing, sitting in front of a computer takes a lot of bandwidth for me. It's just not what I'm good at. It just isn't. You put me in front of 88 little kindergarten kids, I'm eating that up. I love on them. Like, hey, let's go. Let's go for a hike. Let's have fun. If you put me like in front of a whole community to talk in front of like thousands of people, boom, I can do it. You put me in front of a computer, I feel my energy draining so quickly. I don't want to answer these emails. And it's so funny because that's where he's so good at and he thrives. So it really is important that you bring someone that can do that. So your energy and what you're great at can maintain for the group, right? My strength is still going. But if I'm constantly worried about things that are constantly draining my energy, that is going to affect my strengths eventually. And it's like that as a volleyball player. One thing I would tell the girls, because some of the girls switched their positions this year, really stepped up in a big way. And it gets very stressful because you see yourself making mistakes. Someone will be like, oh, I'm making mistakes on my defense, or I can't serve, or I'm not a good passer. And I'm like, don't worry about it. We're not worried about your defense and passing. We understand those errors are going to happen. We don't want you to stress out about them. Because if she stresses out about that, then she stops being a great hitter. See, my thing is us coaches have to sit here and say, lean in on what you're great at. Don't lean in on what you're weak at. And what us humans love to do, especially in the sports world, we lean in and hyper focus on what we're not good at, which, yeah, we want to get better at them, but we don't want to hyper focus on it to where now we just are not even good at what we're good at. Now we've just completely forgot about our own strength or what got me this position in the first place. If you're a hitter, be great at hitting. Don't worry about your passing. We will figure it out. Just that growth happen 1% at a time, but don't obsess over it because then it takes away that. And it's the same idea as a CEO. If I'm stressed out about the things I'm not great at, then I'm like literally abandoning the things I'm great at and what made me a CEO in the first place. So I think that is a little bit the same, right?
I also love how you put it into place a lot of frameworks. Like, for instance, you had Eric Hernandez to
Yeah.
do your parent liaison,
Yeah.
because I think you gave that one example at the program potluck how a parent was worried about the color of their socks. Tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about that.
Well, I think for the most part, regardless, we're humans. So we're going to judge, right? And I think as coaches, parents have a right to have these questions or concerns, but sometimes the concerns are so like minute, like whether it's like what we eat after games, to me, like not spending energy on it. Just going to be grateful I have food in front of my kids, right? And I'm going to teach my kids to be grateful for the food that's in front of them. But I think for me, it's like that parent that was like so up in arms about the white socks. And she was like, I want my daughter wearing black socks. And then if that, if she came to me yelling at me about white socks, forever I'm going to be like, this parent's crazy. She just spent so much energy stressing out about white socks. And I think in life, there's so much going on in life. We have homeless on the street. We have unhoused people over here. We have wars going on. We have just just so much. And this woman has so much crazy energy over white socks. And it naturally, as a coach, it makes you go, I'm not talking to you. Do you know what I'm saying? You a crazy parent. And I'm going to keep you over there. And I feel like I wanted to create a special space that on a parent liaison, hey, I don't want to quite go to the administration on this, but I also don't quite want to go to Morgan on this, but I do want to go to someone and ask, is this validated? I want to express my frustration or I want to express questions that might sound crazy or silly. And it's giving parents a protective space to ask those questions without instantly being judged, right? Because that's the reality of what's happening, regardless if we want to do it or not. It happens. And it just kind of like, you don't want to be labeled as a crazy parent from the very get go because it started off with socks, right? But there's definitely complaints that are validated and you want to hear those out. And so when Eric did such an amazing job in the sense that when parents would come and talk to him, either he handled it and gave them very good direction with it, or he would say and say, hey, I think you need to get involved. Let's reach out to this parent. And we were able to reach out to the parent and just talk to them and just kind of like hear them out. And what I've learned is some parents just want to be heard. They want to be heard. But I just think sometimes parents need that little space where it's not straight to the administrators and it's not straight to the head coach. It's like a little safe space to ask and talk for themselves. So yeah, I think those are things that I did put in. They're not always going to be perfect scenarios, but I think it gives parents a nice safe space so they can be heard.
And it filters out sort of the signal from the noise.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'm sitting here wanting to figure out how I'm going to beat this team. We're playing number one in the nation tonight. How am I going to beat this team? And then I get a phone call from a JV parent saying, my daughter, she wants breadsticks for tonight's dinner. And I'm like, oh, honey, we are not on the same level. We are not on the same planet right now. And then it just makes you have this person's not, she doesn't get it. She's worried about minute things when there's bigger things happening.
And I love how, as CEO, you can anticipate what's going to happen, and then you put these things in place,
Oh,
like
for sure.
communication, like the look ahead emails. You really had it down pat.
I think that's just 30 years of coaching. I think if you saw probably 25-year-old Morgan, she was not this girl. 25-year-old, hey, all over the place. And I was fun. I wanted to win. I knew volleyball. I taught it at a very intricate level. That part was always in place, but learning how to run an organization, learning how to like prepare, already anticipating the pitfalls of a season and having already solutions in place for them. That's just because I've fallen so many times. And again, it goes back to that's where the diamonds are formed, right? It's those little moments where wisdom and these experiences, it's falling on your face. It's messing up. It's taking a good look at saying, yeah, maybe that is the school's fault or that is the parent's fault, but it's also my fault too. I think too many coaches go, oh no, those parents are just crazy. Well, I think you have to go, are they crazy? Or are they validated? And do I need to take a look at myself? And could I have done something better? Or could I have avoided this problem? When I lose, I hear a lot of coaches, and I feel like it's a very immature coach that does this, is, oh, we lost because of the girls. Oh, we lost because this, and that. Oh, we lost because of a setter. Or, oh, my daughter was bad at hitting because of the setter. I see this, and it's a very immature way of going through these seasons. But I always sit here and think, and it could be because I was raised by coaches, because I've done this my whole life. If I lose, I think, what could I have done better? What could I have done? Could I have cheered more? Did I need to support a teammate out there? Did my setting location need to improve? Was my defense good? I always thought, what could I have done to have a different outcome? And even as a coach, I sit here and think, what did I do wrong? What do I need to do better for next season? What do I need to do? I'm already in my head thinking, what do I need to change in my program and me to level up our program? Yes, we want a state championship, but there's always room for improvement. And if we want to level up, because at the end of the day, we want to beat the volleyball giants. Do you know? We want to be up there beating them, not just landing a few punches. And it's like, what do I need to do to get there? And I never walk away from a game. If we let a lot of tips dropped, I think, did I practice tip coverage good? Did I do this? Did I prepare them for this? And if I didn't, that's on me. But if I did work with you, then you're going to be held accountable. Because I'm going to tell you, we worked this whole week on tip coverage. You knew how to cover that tip. You need to lock in and do it. So there is a sense of, I'm going to look at myself first and reflect. And then if it's not, I'm going to tell the girl, I'm going to hold that person accountable for the things that they knew they could do and they didn't do. So it definitely is something like you have to do that. But yeah, I think that's kind of what what I do. I don't know. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah. And also, what I loved about this year is you had a theme,
Okay.
lock
Yes.
in.
Lock in. I Here's the thing. I mean, lock in is a trendy thing right now. But it's just simple. It's like just it's kind of like shut the outside noise out. Just shut it out. Shut that outside noise and lock in. Do your job. Get it done. Lock in. We can do this. And it's really, to me, almost saying we need to zero in our focus on what we're here for and get it done. And then we can get out. It's not getting swallowed up. I think sometimes lock in allows you to say, okay, this is what responsible for now. Here's my job. I'm at practice. Lock in, do a good practice. When I leave practice, lock in as a student, lock in as a daughter. Like it's just saying, okay, like being present, really. When you're locked in, you're present. You're not thinking about the past. You're not thinking about the future. You are in that moment. And I think being in the moment is so imperative. And this is a journey the last 2 years I've been on is just I am being I'm an in the moment person. So being in the moment is not hard for me. I am someone who rarely thinks 2 weeks ahead of myself. And I definitely forget most of my past. So I am someone that just lives here in this space. But I've even doing it even more, like really appreciating the miracles around me and celebrating those moments, right? I know this sounds silly, but like seeing the sunsets, taking a moment and realizing this sunset has been happening for millions of years and I'm seeing it, right? Or just like seeing just butterflies randomly. It's just, I really try to sit here and be in the moment even a little bit more and a little bit deeper, embracing all of God's like miracles that are happening around us, whether it's through people or through nature or through animals. I just really have been on that journey. I know people are going to hear that. They're going to laugh because they know that side of me. But yes, for sure.
So when what I love about lock in is that it was so simple and so clear.
Hmm.
Parents got it, the
Yeah.
kids got it, and you rewarded them with lockets.
Yes. It was honestly, I think it was your idea too, Kalika.
No, I think that you were saying,
No, okay. I think we did come up with it. I think we collaborated together. Honestly, the locket idea was like saying, hey, someone earned their locket. They locked in. They locked in for a practice. They locked in for a game. They locked in for a tournament. They locked in for the season. They did incredible. Like, I think our last locket was someone who just day in, day out, never quit, worked hard, never gave up. And she locked in this entire season. And the girls earned their locket. So they always forever get to have this little moment realizing, and what a special season they get to look back now. They earned their locket, and we all had moments where we locked in, and we inevitably locked in and won a state championship on everyone's ability to lock in individually. That we became united and locked in and won the state championship. So it was very, very special moment. But yeah, it was sweet giving them their lockets. They earned them and they loved it. And it was wonderful.
I think what also sets you apart from other coaches that I've been in contact with is just your level of gratitude about everything.
Yeah, no, I have learned we have a choice as humans. Every day we get to wake up and we can either be grateful or we can complain. And I think we're always faced with that choice. And I think it's a part of your soul, almost like a muscle you have to exercise. I don't think it just naturally can happen. I think some people maybe are more optimistic, so it goes in their favor. But I think sometimes when you're like the pessimist that's worried and stressed out and stuff, you have to really actively wake up and intentionally be grateful for everything. And I think for me, it was like I've been empty nesting and having your kids go to college and learning that whole journey of kind of like detaching and letting go can put you in a very sad state and a little lost. And I think for me, leaning in on gratitude and waking up when I was like crying and sad, I had to say, I cried probably every day for like 2 months. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty hard. I miss them and I miss my role. Really. I missed who I was for them and it was an easy thing to let go of. But I started going for walks and I would just up and down the block. And that was all I had the bandwidth for. But I did it and I would just say, you know what? I'm like grateful for the sun. This feels good. And then the next day I would go out and I would do it again. And then the walk started lasting longer and my gratitude list started being longer. And then I just started going in even a deeper level of gratitude. And that was like my first time that I realized my dog and those walks, him getting me out of bed and just going for baby steps and walking God put air in my life again, put air in my lungs. It made me see color again. And I realized gratitude is a very powerful tool that we need to lean in more. And I just realized, like, instead of just seeing everything you don't like about someone, because there's always something, just start seeing everything you love about that person and having a really big heart of gratefulness and gratitude and I'm very grateful for all the moments, including that really dark moment. I'm very grateful to feel that pain. So when I see other people battling depression or those my heart has such a deep empathy for them. And I don't want to lose that feeling. I never want to forget that moment because, man, I want to be there and I don't want to lose that empathy when other people are going through it. But yeah, gratitude got me out of it for sure. And I use it now in like my daily life. So
It's so transformational.
it
Yeah.
is. It really is. I think people think ooh, it's like foo foo or, oh, you're so spiritual. And it's something like, it's no, it's like the essence. It's like we need to walk in a state of gratitude. Like we need to be grateful for every moment that is handed to us. And it really transformed my life for sure. And it's helped me through empty nesting and kind of like figuring all that stuff out too. So,
Well, the Buddha talks about the 10,000 joys and the
yeah,
10,000 sorrows.
yeah,
And without the sorrows, you don't know what joy is.
you really don't. It's just kind of like you don't know what sunshine is without rainy days. You have to have its counterpart to really enjoy the joy of the other part, and you have to go through it and feel it. You don't understand life till you understand death, but you also realize, but this is what life is. You realize this is why we have to live and have gratitude and really sit here and go, is this energy draining my cup? Is it worth it? Is there a lesson here or do I need to walk away from it? And if it becomes a place where you're like, yeah, I'm not spending my energy on this because I'm walking away, it's really, you learn that through watching life and death happen your entire life as a kid. And you realize what's worth your time and energy and what's not worth your time and energy. And I think that's also why I love community. I love serving it. I love being a part of it because that's where life is at. It's in the essence of humans and animals and nature. And you really want to embrace all of it. So, yeah.
And you still want to continue it with your platform after the game and with your volleyball club, Supernova.
Yeah.
How can people find out more about after the game?
I started after the game because there's problems everywhere. And I think what happens is what I've watched and observed all these years is so many people just complain and blame on problems. I have done it too. So I'm not sitting here like, I have never complained or blamed. No, I'm human. I have made so many errors. I have complained about coaches. I've complained about silly things that didn't even need to be complained about. I've wasted so much negative energy on things that were like, just not good for London, not good for Indiana. Like having to hear me in the car complain about things or whine about stuff with their coaches. It's just, and I still fall to it sometimes. I'm not perfect, but I do know it's a problem. And I think for me, I realize a lot of coaches complain about parents and see parents as the problem. And a lot of parents see coaches and administrators as the problem, right? And everyone's pointing fingers at each other in this whole youth sports journey. And we're blaming the setter, and the setters are blaming the passers, and the passers are blaming the hitters. It's just like always this like, when are we going to say, here's the problem, let's solve it? Let's be part of the solution, not be part of the problem. So for me, I realize parents just need a support system. So this is when I came up with, how do I become part of the solution? I came up with After the Game. We've soft launched it just recently, but it's a platform that I'm building that basically helps parents and athletes through their youth sports journey. And we're life coaches, we're certified life coaches, and we are going to get like football coaches that have a lot of years of experience, and basketball coaches and this. And we just want to be part of someone that says, hey, we're here for your journey. We want to be, okay, your daughter wants to quit. Let's sit down. Let's talk about what this looks like. Why does she want to quit? And we want to be a support system. We don't want parents yelling at each other or yelling at their kids or crashing out on the coach. We want to be somewhere where you're like, okay, I need a safe space to find someone that gives me good advice on how to handle this problem and how to navigate this situation, because I am emotionally charged mom and I'm a mama bear and I am not giving good advice. I have been that mama bear who does not give good advice, because you're just like, that's my kid. Don't you look at my kid like that. And you really have to gonna go deep breath, backpedal. This isn't about you, Morgan. And you just sometimes have to realize you need to let go. But I wanted to create a platform that helps those parents and families through those journeys. So that's what After the Game is about. So I'm excited about it. And we just soft launched it, and we're getting more coaches on the platform. So it's a kind of exciting times.
Because it's so much better to get advice from someone who's experienced rather than a parent that's sitting next to you.
Oh, for sure. I think the problem is parents are like the blind leading the blind. They're all going through these emotional things. And it's just like they're all stressed out, and they're all sitting there in the bleachers, and they're all stressed out, and they're all whining and complaining about the same thing. And they're all trying to give each other advice, or they're adding wood to the fire instead of trying to de-escalate the fire. It's so that's what ends up happening is you start leaning in on parents. And then if you have a parent that really is a fire starter, she's gotten everyone out of control. And I realize you don't know what you don't know. These are your babies. This is time and money, and your children are the most three precious things you're giving to sports. And I want to create a platform that kind of honors those moments, but helps you guide with experience and wisdom and say, hey, I did the same thing. So you're normal. There's nothing wrong with you, but let's not burn the house down over this. Let's not crucify the coach. Let's not ruin your daughter's her youth sports journey. Let's like figure a better way through this. So that's where I came with this idea, and I'm excited to grow it because I want it to grow to where it's not about Morgan. It's about having a platform that parents from all different sports can go and lean on and get like help. That's really important for me.
Because a lot of times they don't realize how they're acting is they have a reputation, and that reputation goes
Oh, for
everywhere.
sure. It's like the minute coach is like, I'll give you a perfect example. Me, okay? I I said some things that I should not have said. I can get very opinionated. I'm a coach. I know volleyball well enough to sit here and be opinionated and probably sometimes be right, okay? And sometimes I don't know the whole story, so then I'm not technically right. I might be right in the version of what I'm seeing, but I don't know the whole story. I would sit here and say, I have messed up. And unfortunately, it has made certain coaches really see me in a very ugly light because of some of the things I said. And it hurt my daughter's journey. And she's the one that got it taken out on. And it hurt our relationship. And it hurt my relationship with some of the coaches. And honestly, it's like one of those things you just go, man, I wish I could take it back. It was such a dumb thing for me to get so upset about, because you look back and in the scheme of life, it didn't even matter. And I burned so many bridges and hurt my daughter in the whole process of it. And I think parents don't realize that you talking too much can create a very negative reputation on you. And it does affect the way people approach your kids because they will either approach your kids very like guarded, where they don't feel free to coach your kid and they feel very guarded coaching your kid because they know what kind of parent you are, or they won't even give your kids the opportunities, that maybe other kids get. So I definitely think parents have to be very careful. And I think also parents don't realize how many other people, they really just trust people. They don't realize everyone talks. That's the problem too. So it's like, how I want this platform to be a safe space so parents can talk somewhere safe that no one can share their information. They can let out their steam, they can vent, and then we can guide them in the right ways to handle this. So, and they're athletes. So,
Yeah. So do they go to a website?
yeah, the website is afterthegame.com and it's AFTR, so it's not the E, take out the E, but it's afterthegame.com. And it's just you can go out there, you can say, "Hey, there's packages." You can say, "I want you for a whole season. We want to really rely on you. This season's going to be a tough season. We want you." Or you can go session by session, but there's different ways you can sign up and we just kind of hopefully like get you to that we're there to be a support system for you, through your journey. So yeah.
There are a lot of entrepreneurs out there that are listening who have athletes. And because they're so intrinsically motivated to win in their businesses, they
Mhm.
often put that pressure on their kids.
Yeah.
What type of advice would you give to someone like that?
You know what? This is a great question because I think it is a gray area, right? I think I've seen parents do two disservices. One, you have the one parent that goes to extremes and they're very much pressure, 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 which I would sit here and say, in all honesty, maybe I fell like me and my husband fell on that, right? We fell on that area to some degree. I think I was better at maybe pulling back a little bit, but for the most part, we wanted our kids to handle the pressure. But then you have other parents who are like, we're just going to let her make a decision. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a good decision either. Like just being too aloof with your kid and not giving them sound advice or not really guiding them through. It's your kid doesn't want to do math. Are you going to just be like, he's going to wake up and be like, hey, I just decided not doing math anymore, guys. And then you're going to wake up and be like, you know what? We're just going to let you make the decision. If you don't want to do math, you don't need to do math. There's just times your kids aren't mentally at the space to make some of the big decisions that are going to alter their path. It could be like, this school is way better for your kid. Your daughter wants to go play D1. This school is going to give her an opportunity to get trained like a D1 athlete and get leveled up. And she has great coaching, but oh, she doesn't want to leave her friends. So we're just going to keep her with her friends. And we're just going to let her make the decision. Well, you and I know the problem with friends is they're fickle, right? You have friends for seasons. You have friends, you might have one or two friends that are lifetime friends. You don't know which ones are those friendships that are going to stick and which ones are going to just be for that season. So making decisions based on friends is probably one of the worst decisions you can make when it comes to being about your goals, right? So we had this challenge with my son is he went to a school his whole life and he had a very hardcore group of friends. They were his core. They were his people, his tribe, and they did everything together. And his senior year was coming up and he loves football. And I was telling him, you can't be at this school anymore. This school is not a good football school for you. The way you are and the way these coaches coach are not too good. These things do not align for your future. And he was like, oh, I don't want to leave. This is my senior year. I've been here my whole life. These are my best friends. He runs the school. Like my son was very much the leader of the school. And he was very comfortable in that. But football was not the place, like that school was not good for him in football. And it came down to a decision that I told him, okay, we can stay at the school, but we're done with the football dream and we're going to stop. We're just going to stop. We're not going to put all this energy, all this money, all this time that we've done since you were little. We're done. And I'm fine with it. Are you fine with it? because if we're choosing this school for your friends, I'm fine with that, but we have to stop the football dream. And he was like, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, okay, if you want to play football and you're serious about your goals, then this is the school we have to go to. And you're going to have to let go of your friendships. And you're going to have to go to a new school your senior year. And I remember sitting there. It was so cute. Him and his friends were like FaceTiming all of them, 6 of them, and they were all crying. And it's just like this group of little boys that have just grown up together since Little League. And they're all crying. No, Indiana, you can't leave. We love you. Like, this is going to be awful. This is our senior year. And all these things they look forward to. And I was heartbroken as a mom, but that was the reality. If you want this, then you have to let go of this. And if you want that, then you have to let go of this. You can't have both. And so he ended up going to his new school that senior year. And he swears to this day, best year of his life. He loved it. Phenomenal football season. He did incredible thing for that community. They had just an amazing year of football. The community loved him. And he created some of the best friends that he ever had and the best memories. And here's the best part. All of those friends that he left his first school from, they're all still best friends today. And they talk every day and they see each other every time they come home from college. And they all go to a golf resort and they all golf for 2 days and they're always together. And because at the end of the day, if they're real friends, they're going to be with you. They're going to be with you through every journey you go through. That's just one thing I would see parents do in these sports worlds, right? We're going to be really adamant about academics, but in sports, she wants to be the next Harper Murray, but she also wants to just kind of be at whatever school she wants to be at, and she wants to be around her friends, and she wants to do this. There's sacrifices that it takes to be someone who's like London Wijay, Harper Murray, Alana Clemente. These girls sacrificed parties and social times, and they said, I'm committed to this. So definitely that's just one example I had to do as a parent. But I would say parents either go too extreme or they go, oh yeah, we're just going to let her do whatever she wants. And that's kind of like not good either for kids. They should have an opinion, but they need to be navigated through it. They just don't have all the knowledge and understanding of what we have as adults. So
Yeah, you still have to be a parent, not a friend.
oh, absolutely. And I think that's really important. And it's challenging. I mean, like Indiana did not want to make that decision. And I had to put a firm take on it. My daughter went through the same thing. Like she really didn't, okay, didn't want to go to school. We had to tell her, you have to go to school. But like I told her, okay, if you decide you want an online school, you're going to go over here and you're going to play in the top volleyball club and you're going to spend this whole semester flying back and forth to Muncie, Indiana, and you're going to play on the top volleyball club with one of the top coaches in the nation. And if you want to do online schooling, then you're going to go 100% hard here. And I put both those. If you want to stay here, then this is the life. And if you want to do this, then this is the life. And I lay it out because I also weigh out my kids' goals. Like these doesn't match your goals. If it doesn't match your goals, then you make it make sense. You can't sit here and say you want this and then nothing you're doing in actions matches those goals. So I think that's like really important. Parents have to say it needs to match the goals that they say they want to have. And if not, then the goals need to be changed and pivoted. So,
So your job is also to give clarity.
yeah, for sure. Because you can make those choices, but you need to know that requires you pivoting your goals. And that needs, okay, this is what we need to do. So I am fine listening to my kids, but I think Indy and I have always been really good at just laying out, okay, you want to do this? Here's what that looks like. This is what your 5-year plan looks like. And I think kids need to see that and you need to hold them accountable to that because they can't just go, oh, like I just want to play for this club, even though you never play. Okay, make that make sense. You can't tell me you want to be a D1 athlete, but you go to a club who you sit the bench all the time and you never play. Like that doesn't make sense to me. Like college coaches want to see you play. So like those little things, but she wants to be with her friends. Like I hear parents say that all the time. And I'm like, okay, your goals and your actions aren't matching up and lining up, but that's kind of like what I see as parents. Yeah.
That's why they need a coach in
Well, no,
after the games.
that's why they need like after the game. They need these resources, and they don't really have them. And you're asking the person sitting next to you going through the same thing. No, like you have to find people who have experiences that say, no, let me help you. Let's weigh out all the options, and if we need to pivot goals, let's pivot goals. But here are your two options, and this is the pros, and this is the pros, and here are the cons, and here are the cons, and you can give them through experiences. So. Yeah, that's what after the game is. So I'm hoping to take it on all sports. And I also want to level it up to college athletes. Us college athletes, we pour our life into our sport, and our sport becomes our identity. And we do everything for that sport. We give our soul to that sport. We really do. We give a lot. And I think when college ends up being done, where's our identity? We almost forget to really find, and you'll see a lot of college athletes are lost. They're lost in the shuffle. College ends, their career ends, and they're just like, who am I without volleyball, or who am I without football? And that is a very scary place to be, because you spent all your time, love, and energy pouring into that sport, and you didn't really focus on other areas in your life, and you really get lost. And so that's another level we want to start incorporating in after the game. After the game, when it's done, who are you? And helping people on that journey too. So like gaining an identity and really learning how to detach, and okay, like I'm thankful for that moment. It served its purpose, and now I'm ready to move forward into other areas in the world, right? So, yes.
Or using the leadership skills that you learned.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I feel like sports is this beautiful thing now that we still have, a lot of people don't have, that creates that we are all uniting for a common goal. We are creating how to handle adversities on a daily basis. We're creating kids that show up regardless of how they feel, learning how to show up, learning how to care about others before yourself, learning how to care about the team before yourself. I mean, you're starting to see that big corporations are only hiring athletes now. They're like, we just want to hire athletes, because for them, athletes are the ones who know how to work with others. They know how to think about the team first. They know how to battle through adversity. They know how to wake up and be disciplined. They know how to show up when they don't feel good. Sports is really, in essence, the only platform really giving kids this opportunity to create these character traits that are really imperative for businesses to grow and flourish. You have to have employees that have these same kind of qualities. And I can start seeing how big corporations like Morgan Stanley's like, we want to hire athletes, because athletes know what it means to be part of something bigger. And I see that. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so
Oh
much
my gosh.
for
Thank
all this time. You're
you.
an incredible mom, raising two beautiful athletes,
Thank
and
you.
CEO of After the Game and Supernova,
Hmm.
and also an incredible coach. It's been
Oh my
so
gosh. No,
wonderful.
thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me.
And everyone can contact you through LinkedIn or.
Oh, yeah. Well, they can contact me through After the Game, or definitely After the Game website and our Instagram. So, yeah, definitely. AFTRthegame.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Morgan. You're
Thank
the
you.
best.
I appreciate you.